Hey there, I got a good one for you tonight. I'm the Virginia Creeper. This is a Hope on a Rope production. Tonight we're going green light fishing. Hopefully we're going to get some crappies, white perch. Who knows what else will show up in the shadows. But stay tuned and I'll see you on the lake. Looks like we got some fireworks going off over here. Guess it is almost the 4th of July, isn't it? All right, stay tuned. I'll see you then. Okay, so I'm meeting my good buddy here, 30 pack at the lake, and his son 6-pack. We're going to try a little green light fishing tonight. Just had a big thunderstorm roll through, so we're going to see how the fish react to that. But normally around the 4th of July, the crappies really start biting. So we got bait, we got lights, we got clear skies. So let's go see what happens. All right, so we're set up here. We got some green lights, we got a white light, we've got bait in the lights already, and we saw one big perch swim through so far. So we're about to get baited up and get some lines out and see how we do. He didn't get it though. Oh, that's a big perch. But the crappies, as you're lifting it, you'll just feel a little weight on it because he comes up underneath of it and sucks it in. There's a bite. Nope. Yeah, I don't think they're even giving anything away. There you go, you got one. That's a crappie. Swing him in here, swing him in. I forgot my crap. Yeah, tighten your drag. That's a nice crappie. Swing him on in here. Swing, 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 swing. There you go. That's an eater. You guys taking any?
Maybe.
All right, let's put them in the live well. We're gonna measure them. We're gonna make sure that they're like 9 inches. Unless you guys want smaller. Donnie is on the board. Here, measure him up right here. Let's see if you can put his head right here. And his tail should be 9 inches. What do we got? You read it? Throw him in there. Right in the live well. Alright, that's one. It's a good sign that they're already here.
So there's nothing good now.
Oh, you got something good. What you got, perch?
Right.
No, that's a big perch. Swing him on in here. Look at that.
Is that a rock bass?
Yeah, that's a big perch. That's a big perch. Hold that up for the camera there, 30 pack.
You think you can use a dead minnow?
Yep, as long as it's moving. That's why I said drop it to the bottom and then just raise it up. And they'll hit it somewhere along the line. Get it?
Yeah. Crappie.
Nice crappie?
No.
Never know. Yeah, that's a good one. Nice. Down near bottom?
No. You like him?
Yeah, that's a eater. There he is. I got one too, they're showing up.
Where's the light?
This one feels like a baby. Look at that one. I got the smallest rock bass in the world.
Oh, I still had it.
You want it for your aquarium? Look at that. You ever seen a red eye so small?
That's
I'm
Tell me it is as big as he is.
Yeah. There's a little guy. That's when you know you're near bottom. There he is. He's fighting a perch. Big perch. Just side of that one. That's a big old perchy perch.
Taking that out when you need it.
Right? See, they like dead minis. Big old perchy perch. Get him?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good one. Little 30 pack out here using his little ice rod. Nice crappie. Nice.
Telling you that spring bobber is good money for these crappies.
It is. I agree 100%.
That was all spring bobber.
Nice crappie. I don't know if you can see it.
Bobber went up.
That's the thing. The crappies always come up under it and you can't tell.
Yeah. That's How deep?
Am I?
Yeah.
I just throw it out and let it swing back to the boat. They've been hitting it on the way back.
So what, 10 feet down?
Probably 15. It's almost vertical when it gets back here behind the boat. Down at Lake Murray, they have all these docks, you know, lake houses. And like every cove's got one dock in it. It's got these giant green lights. You just pull up to them and they're loaded with rockfish and big white perch and big largemouth and gar.
Yeah.
Caught a big gar off one.
What did you catch that on?
Shadow rat.
Really?
Yep. There you go, that's crappie. That's good crappie right here. Sir. There's a crappie. Yes, indeed. Another good one. Weird night.
You think the rockfish are taken care of though?
No, I was out here the other evening trying to film them. There was shad everywhere on the coming up on the surface. I think that storm we just had didn't help matters. That pressure dropped big time. There he is. That's a good one. Come on, big crappie. Yeah. Oh, come on, Slaverino. There we go. He was about 10 foot down. Mr. Black Crappie. Just on, yeah. Just on. Got him? Nice crappie. What'd you get one? What'd you get? Little guy? Perch.
There you go, right there, stop. See how that works out for you.
Look at that. That's a striper candy.
Got him? There you go. Crappie.
Nice crappie.
Perch. He was way out there. Or he ran.
There he is. Oh, that's gotta be a perch.
Definitely not a crab.
Yeah, 7-inch perch. Okay, so at this point I'd like to discuss the what, where, whys, whens, and hows of what we're doing here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, glad to see you back. Only ask one thing, give me that thumbs up, give me a like. Please, that would mean so much. If you want to subscribe, absolutely, please subscribe. Okay, so let's talk about the why. Why are we fishing with green lights at night? It is hot. We are here in the summertime. We were close to heat indexes of 105 this week. I am not going out in the daytime and getting burned up. The other why is crappies are very nocturnal. When you're night fishing, you are fishing in their feeding times. When you're using the lights, you're actually bringing the food closer to you, and therefore the crappies will come closer as well. So let's talk about the lights. You can get these green lights pretty much anywhere. Amazon, Bass Pro, Cabela's. This is a fluorescent green light. All you got to do is hook up your red to your positive and your black to your negative. You want to have yourself a good deep cycle battery. This will run pretty much all night on that. This one here I have is a white light. This thing is probably 35 years old. Now this one is not fluorescent. I don't even think they make this style anymore, but it puts out a lot of light. I like this one. What happens when you put this in the water, the white one, it will draw in the bugs. So you'll get all the little plankton, the little mayfly larvae, which in turn brings in the minnows, which in turn brings in the fish. This one will drain your battery though. I use it, but I have a dedicated battery that I hook this one to. You can hook 4 or 5 of the green lights, the fluorescent ones, to one battery and it will not drain them. So that's the lights. Next, let's talk about the jigs. If you ice fish, any of your ice fishing jigs will work. I really like these these little tiny, I don't know if you can see that, little tiny teardrops. I think these are demon jigs. I like one that's a little bigger, about that size. And I like ones that glow. So as you can see, we were all three using a different jig out there. I was using the teardrops. I believe 30 pack was using 5mm tungsten head, and I think Donnie was just using a plain hook with a split shot. One thing you will need, there are little tiny swivels. So this swivel, I believe, is a 4.0 Spro ball bearing power swivel. And this thing is tiny. I also use this when I'm ice fishing as well. Anytime you're using a spinning reel and you're vertical jigging, you're gonna get line twists. So I don't know if you're even gonna be able to see this thing. This is probably the smallest swivel that I've ever purchased. It is little. You can barely get 6-pound test through it. Get yourself some of these. I run 6-pound test as the main line down to this swivel, and then about an 18-24-inch leader off of that of 4-pound fluorocarbon to a loop knot to my jig. That's what you want. One little box is really all you need at nighttime. Marmuskas, wolframs, any tungsten head, any little crappie jig will work. I've used shad darts. I've used just plain lead heads and plain hooks as well. I like something that's got a little weight to it. We're fishing in, I think it was 25 foot of water. The lake was down a little bit, so it was probably only about 22 foot of water. I like something with a little bit of weight that'll get me to the bottom. And then you just kind of work it slowly up. At some point, you're gonna come and get above that crappie where he'll come up under it and take it. Now, I think you noticed on the video, Don was actually using a little ice fishing rod. It was maybe 20 inches, and he had a spring bobber on it. The spring bobber really helps for crappies. Even in the summertime, they will come up under your jig and you will not feel the bite. That spring bobber is loaded with the weight of the jig, and as that crappie comes up and takes the jig, the spring bobber will actually lift up. It's very helpful. So if you can get a spring bobber that snaps on and snaps off your rod, that's better. Or just use a little rod. I don't like having to stand over on the edge of the boat, so I like to sit. I'm a little lazy. My rod of choice is a 5-foot, very, very flimsy, sensitive. I believe it's might be an ugly stick. It's got a very soft tip to it. It's the one I use to shoot docks, but that I can actually see the tip move a little bit, so it works. But get yourself a spring bobber if you got a stiffer rod. Let's talk about where. We are fishing under a bridge, as you can tell from the road noise. It's a very busy bridge as well. Crappies relate to vertical structure. So when you're setting up your lights at night, if you can find vertical structure, a cliff face, trees, a tall brush pile, bridges, that's a really good spot. For some reason, crappies just really relate to vertical structure. Let's talk about the how. So when you go out to set your green lights up, you're going to need an anchoring system. Sometimes you can put an anchor out the front and the back of the boat. Now if you can do that, it's going to hold you stationary if you get a little bit of wind. I like to be able to tie off, if you're allowed, check your rules. Sometimes you can tie off directly to the bridge. If you're out in open water, some people I've seen use green lights and they just kind of drift. They'll get in the middle of a cove and they'll put the green lights down and they'll just kind of drift around at night. You can do that as well. You can use your spot lock and hold you in one spot. So think about your anchoring system before you head out. Get your batteries, get your lights, get your little jigs, get your rods. Okay, let's talk about the bait that we're using. I'm actually using fathead shiners. I know they have a couple different names across the country. We just call them fatheads. They're pretty hardy. What I do is I buy them about the day before I plan on going fishing. So we planned on going fishing just because we all had off this evening. I went over and got 4 dozen. The rule of thumb is about 2 dozen shiners per person. So we were a little bit light tonight. We only had 4 dozen for 3 people, so we burned through them pretty quick. We definitely could have used another 2 dozen shiners. So I'll buy them the day before. I have a refrigerator that I actually put the entire bucket in the refrigerator with the pump on it, and it will get that water down around 40 degrees. So when you bring those shiners out on a 90-degree night, that water slowly comes up. Normally by the time the water gets up to about 80 degrees, where those shiners start to stress a little bit, you're pretty much done fishing. You can always throw a little ice bottle in there with them to keep them cold. But as long as you keep air on them and you've got that water going, it will keep them, pretty much. You can buy one of those high-end coolers that keeps them through the summer. A lot of guys use those in the South. I haven't found that necessary. I'm in the Mid-Atlantic region. We do get hot, but with the trick of putting them in the fridge for about 24 hours, not even, about 12 hours, you're good to go. So let's talk about techniques a little bit. I like to get set up about an hour before dark. Unfortunately, this night we weren't able to do that because we had some really big thunderstorms come through. It was 95 degrees. We had an big line of afternoon thunderstorms pop up, and the pressure dropped big time. Normally I wouldn't have gone fishing, but we were already set up to go fishing, so we went. The fishing was not stellar at all. Normally, when you put your lights out, within an hour, you've got about 20, 30 fish just swimming around in the lights. We saw maybe 5 or 6 swimming around, so we knew it was going to be a struggle and a slow pick tonight. But anyway, get yourself set up about an hour before dark, get the lights going, and you'll start noticing all the mayfly larvae, all the bug larvae just starting, and they swim. They'll either, it's kind of weird, one night they'll be all going clockwise around the light, or they'll all be going counterclockwise around the light. But they love to circle that. And then within seconds, you'll see the fry or the minnows. I'm not sure what they are. They could be little shad fry, bass fry, who knows what they are. But they're coming in and just picking those off. And then sometime around 5 minutes before dark to, it could be an hour after dark, the bigger fish will show up. The predators will show up. On this lake, there's a lot of white perch, which they come right up to the surface. Some of them are pretty big. We got some white perch last night that were pushing 11 inches. That's a good eater. I like eating white perch. A lot of people frown on them. I don't mind them. I'll eat white perch, crappie, yellow perch. If it's a pan fish, you can fry it. Once you get your lights set up and you've got active fish working your lights, that's the time to start fishing. You can always start before then. It doesn't hurt, but you're not going to have a lot of action. So what I like to do is get my little jig head, and I just lip hook that fat head on there. I try to get a little bit deeper than the lips, a little bit through the head without impaling the brain and killing him. And then I will just lower that to the bottom. Like I said, we were in 25 foot of water. And I'll just slowly raise my rod tip up. You can jig it a little bit. You'll figure out how the fish want it, and you'll start catching them. What you can also do is your lights are going to throw out about a 10-foot ring around your boat. You can throw that jig, cast it out beyond the edge of the light out into the shadow. And if you know you're in 25 foot of water, you throw it out 20 feet, you're not going to hit bottom. Just click your bow and let that jig and minnow just slowly swing back to the boat. Sometimes that's a deadly presentation. You can go out the front of the boat, the back of the boat, all the sides of the boat. I like to do that because it really covers the water column from the surface all the way down pretty much to bottom. At some point, you'll hit fish. A lot of times you won't feel the hit, but you'll see your line just jump a little bit, or you might see your line start moving to the left or the right. And that will be, that's the strike. So this is also a great thing to do with kids. You can take the family out. Like I said, it's 95 degrees. No one wants to be outside. Take them out at night. It cools off. Get yourself a bunch of minnows. You can also put a down line down with a big night crawler on it. You never know what's going to hit that. I've caught, giant trout if the lake has them on just a night crawler suspended. You'll catch big bluegills. You'll catch, anytime you're near the bottom, you're going to catch catfish, walleye, rock bass. You catch all that near the bottom. So, suspended, it's going to be your crappies, your bluegills, and your white perch will definitely be suspended. This is something you can also use from any dock, any pier. It all works. Most of these lights come with a very long cord on it. I think this one's 15 foot of cord. This one you have to attach a sinker to it to get it to sink. The only thing I can really recommend, and I stress, is if you're going to buy some green lights, Get the brightest ones you can afford. Then you just have to use less lights. Some lights are so bright you only need one for the boat. Mine are not that bright. I believe most of them cost about 20 bucks. Spend a little bit more money, get one that's really bright, and you won't have to put multiple lights out. Okay, so we ended up keeping about 18 of those nice perch, and I think we got a dozen bigger crappies. So on this lake, I never catch giant crappies. 9 to 12 inches seems to be the sweet spot. We kept about a dozen that were between that range, and I'm planning to have a fish fry later this week. I may film that and post it. I may add it to this video, I'm not sure, but nothing better than a nice fish fry during the summertime. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you liked this. I know I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Okay, so get yourself some lights. Get yourself a deep cycle battery, get yourself some minnows, and grab a few kids, go out on the lake and just have a good time. Enjoy the summertime without getting burnt to a crisp.